The war had been going on for 3 years now. Commander Vector stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the enemy ships circle his position like predators. His fleet was trapped on the industrial moon called Krath 7, surrounded by Thrain warships. Every day, more of his soldiers died. Every day, the supplies ran lower. In the Galactic Council chambers, thousands of light-years away, the diplomats argued. The Velkari Empire and the Thrain Collective had been friends once. Now they killed each other over a strip of space neither really needed. The Council had tried everything to stop the fighting. Nothing worked. Both sides were too proud to back down. "We need something new," said Envoy Lythus, a Thrain diplomat who secretly hated the war. Something unexpected. An old council member, whose species had explored the galaxy for 20,000 years, made a strange sound that might have been laughter. "There are always the humans," he said. The room went quiet. Then several diplomats made sounds of disbelief. "Humans are a myth," someone said. "A story to scare children. I heard they eat their own dead." Another added. "I heard they can survive in any environment, even vacuum," said a third. The old council member shook his head. "I have seen their star system. It exists in the outer spiral arm. A yellow star with 8 planets. They call their world Earth. They are real." Envoy Lythus leaned forward. "What are they like?" "Contradictions," the old one said. "The reports say they are weak but strong. Logical but insane. They kill each other constantly, but also save each other constantly. They bond with other species as easily as breathing. They turn everything into a weapon or a tool. They are frightened of everything but do dangerous things anyway. That makes no sense." Vector's voice came through the communication channel. He had been listening to the council session, hoping for any help. "How can a species be all those things? I do not know," the old one admitted. "But if the rumors are true, they are very good at war. They have been fighting each other for their entire history. Every generation, they invent new ways to kill." The council voted. It was a small vote, almost meaningless. They would send a distress signal toward the Sol system, where Earth supposedly existed. No one expected an answer. It was just something to tell Commander Vector so he would not feel abandoned. The signal was sent. It traveled through the dark space between stars, carrying a simple message. Help needed. War in progress. Coordinates attached. 10 days passed. Commander Vector's situation grew worse. He had lost 2 more ships. Food was being rationed. The Thrain forces were preparing for a final assault. Then, his sensors officer made a shocked sound. "Commander, 3 unknown ships just appeared at the edge of the system." Vector looked at the display. The ships were small, much smaller than standard military vessels. Their design was strange, not matching any known species. They moved in odd patterns, constantly adjusting their positions. A communication request came through. Vector accepted it. The face that appeared on the screen was shocking. The creature had hair on its head, but smooth skin elsewhere. 2 eyes, positioned forward like a predator. A flat face, with a small nose and mouth. It wore a neat uniform with symbols that meant nothing to Vector. "This is Captain Day 1 of the Earth Defense Fleet," the creature said in perfect galactic standard language. Its voice was calm, almost gentle. "We received your distress call. We are here to help." Vector stared. Humans were real. They had actually come. "You are human?" he asked stupidly. "Yes," Day 1 said, a small movement of his mouth that might have been a smile. "We know we are supposed to be a rumor. Sorry to disappoint you. What is your tactical situation?" Over the next hour, Vector explained everything. The human captain listened, without interrupting, occasionally making small marks on a device he held. 2 other humans appeared on the screen behind him. One was a female, with long, dark hair, wearing a uniform with red symbols. The other was younger, male, with quick, intelligent eyes. "This is Hana, our chief medical officer," Daewon said, gesturing to the female. "And this is Jisoo, our engineering specialist." "You brought a doctor to a war?" Vector asked, confused. "War creates wounded," Hana said simply. "Wounded need doctors. This is obvious. Yes? And I fix things," Jisoo added. "Your equipment is good, but I can make it better. Simple improvements. Big results." Vector did not understand these creatures at all. They spoke like the war was a simple problem with simple solutions. They showed no fear, even though they were vastly outnumbered. "Can you help us?" Vector asked finally. Daewon looked at him with those strange, forward-facing eyes. "Commander, we did not travel 10 days to do nothing. Yes, we can help. But we do things differently than you are used to. Will you trust us?" Vector thought about his dying soldiers, his dwindling supplies, the enemy fleet that grew stronger every day. He had no other options left. "Yes," he said. "I will trust you." "Good," Daewon said. "Then let us begin. First, I need complete maps of the moon's surface. Every building, every tunnel, every resource. Second, I need weather data. Third, I need to know about civilian populations. Fourth, I need supply manifests for both our forces and the enemies, if you have them." "Why do you need all that?" Vector asked. "Should we not plan our attack?" "Commander," Daewon said, and his voice carried something that made Vector's skin prickle. "We are not going to attack. We are going to win. There is a difference. Trust us." The transmission ended. Vector stood on his bridge, wondering what he had just agreed to. Around the moon, the Thrain fleet continued their blockade, unaware that everything was about to change. The humans had arrived. The rumor had become real. And the galaxy would never look at war the same way again. The human ships docked with Commander Vector's flagship 3 hours later. When the airlock opened, Vector got his first look at humans in person. They were shorter than Velkari, with softer bodies and no natural armor. They looked fragile, yet they moved with confidence, their eyes constantly scanning everything around them. Captain Daewon was the first through. He extended his hand, palm up, in what Vector learned was a greeting gesture. "Thank you for trusting us, Commander." Behind Daewon came Hana, carrying large cases of medical equipment. She immediately asked where the wounded were kept. And Jisoo, who barely glanced at Vector before staring at the ship's systems with fascination. "Your power distribution is inefficient," Jisoo said suddenly. "I can fix that. Make your shields 30% stronger with same energy input. Easy fix." "How can you know that?" Vector's chief engineer demanded. "You have been on this ship for 2 minutes." Jisoo shrugged. "Pattern recognition. Your people build well but not efficiently. No offense. Different thinking styles. I can help." The strategy meeting began an hour later. Vector's officers crowded into the briefing room, all of them, staring at the 3 humans, with curiosity and doubt. Daewon pulled up tactical displays and studied them silently. Hana sat beside him, which confused everyone. Why was a doctor at a military strategy meeting? "Your situation is bad," Daewon said finally, "but not hopeless. The Thrain have you surrounded, but they are overconfident. They think you are defeated. This is an advantage." "How is that an advantage?" an officer asked. "They have 50 ships to our 12. Because they will not expect resistance," Daewon said. "They will assume you will surrender or die quietly. This makes them careless." He pointed at the map. "The moon's surface has 300 abandoned mining tunnels. Industrial equipment everywhere. Harsh weather patterns. Civilian populations in these zones. This is not just a battlefield. This is an environment full of tools we can use." "Use how?" Vector asked. "Guerrilla warfare," Daewon said. hit-and-run tactics, asymmetric engagement, psychological operations. We do not fight their strength. We attack their weaknesses. The Velkari officers looked at each other. These terms meant nothing to them. Hana spoke up. How many wounded do you have, Commander? 400, Vector said. Why? Because I will save them, Hana said simply. And when the enemy sees that we care for our wounded while they leave theirs to die, it affects morale. Theirs drops. Yours rises. This is also a weapon. Vector began to understand. Humans did not think like other species. They saw weapons in everything. Even kindness. Over the next 2 days, the humans worked without stopping. Jisoo moved through the ships like a ghost, making small changes to systems. Power conduits were rerouted. Weapons were recalibrated. Communication arrays were enhanced. Each change was tiny. Together, they made the Velkari fleet 40% more effective. How do you know all this? Vector's engineer asked, watching Jisoo work. My planet has limited resources, Jisoo explained. We learned to do more with less. Make everything count. Waste nothing. It is how we survived. Number 3. 111 well stated. I won. Number 3. Number 3. Number 3. Number 3. Hana established a medical center and began treating the wounded with techniques the Velkari had never seen. She talked to the soldiers constantly, learning their names, asking about their families. The wounded soldiers started recovering faster. Their spirits lifted. She is strange, one soldier told Vector. She cries when she sees our injuries, but her hands never shake when she works. How can she be sad and strong at the same time? Number 2. Relevant, with me tenging, with immediately livided, and since Vector had no answer. Daewon spent his time studying everything. He walked through the ships, asking questions. He studied maps of the moon's surface. He reviewed supply lists. He interviewed soldiers about the Thrain tactics. He seemed to absorb information like a sponge. On the 3rd day, the Thrain attacked. Their fleet moved into assault positions, expecting an easy victory. Vector's forces prepared to defend, knowing they would probably die. Then Daewon's plan activated. The Velkari ships did not fight where the Thrain expected. They retreated toward the moon's surface, drawing the enemy down into the atmosphere. The Thrain followed eagerly, thinking the Velkari were running scared. They flew directly into a trap. Human-modified sensors had been hidden across the moon's surface. They fed perfect tracking data to Velkari weapons. Suddenly, the Velkari could hit targets they could not even see. The Thrain ships found themselves taking fire from unexpected angles. But that was just the beginning. Underground, human soldiers worked with Velkari troops. They had rigged the old mining tunnels with explosives. As Thrain ground forces landed, entire sections of terrain collapsed beneath them, not killing them, but trapping them, isolating them. The Thrain forces that made it through found themselves in a nightmare. The humans had taught the Velkari to fight in new ways. Ambushes from behind, false retreats that led into kill zones, improvised weapons using industrial equipment. The heavy machinery of the mines became weapons. Chemical storage tanks became toxic obstacles. And everywhere, the humans were present. Daewon coordinated from orbit with perfect calm. Human soldiers on the ground moved like they were dancing, always in the right place at the right time. They seemed to predict where the enemy would be before the enemy knew themselves. A Thrain commander opened a communication channel, demanding to know what was happening. Daewon's face appeared on his screen. You are fighting humans now, Daewon said quietly. We do not fight like you. We do not think like you. Surrender, and your wounded will be treated well. Continue fighting, and we will make this moon your grave. Choose. The Thrain commander chose to fight. It was a mistake. Over the next 6 hours, the Thrain forces were systematically destroyed. Not through overwhelming power, but through perfect tactics. Every time they attacked, they found empty positions. Every time they defended, they were hit from unexpected directions. Their communications were jammed. Their supplies were cut off. Their morale crumbled. By nightfall, the Thrain fleet retreated. They had lost 12 ships and 3,000 soldiers. The Valkyrie had lost 1 ship and 400 soldiers. It was their first major victory in 3 years. In the medical bay, Hana worked on wounded from both sides. The Valkyrie soldiers were shocked when she began treating captured Thrain soldiers with the same care she gave to allies. "Why do you help them?" a Valkyrie soldier asked. "They are the enemy." Hana looked up, her hands covered in blue Thrain blood. "On my operating table, there are no enemies," she said firmly. "Only patients who need help. This is what being human means. We do not abandon those who suffer, even if they tried to kill us. Maybe especially if they tried to kill us." The soldier did not understand. But he watched as the Thrain soldiers, treated with unexpected kindness, stopped resisting. Some even started talking to their Valkyrie guards, confused by the gentle treatment. Commander Vector found Day One on the observation deck, staring at the stars. "You are not what I expected," Vector said. "No one ever is," Day One replied. "Commander, this victory is just the beginning. News will spread. Both sides will react. The galaxy will learn that humans are real, and they will have questions we cannot answer yet." "What questions?" Day One turned to face him. "Questions like, what are humans? Why do they fight this way? Can they be trusted? Should they be feared? We showed the galaxy something new today. Now we must show them what it means." Outside the ship, the stars shone cold and distant. The war continued. But something had changed on Krath 7. A rumor had become truth. And the truth was more complicated than anyone expected. The days after the battle brought strange changes to Krath 7. Human soldiers began mixing with Valkyrie troops, and the aliens discovered that humans were walking contradictions that made no sense. Heijin was a human sniper, one of the best according to her records. She could hit targets from distances that seemed impossible. The Valkyrie soldiers respected her skills, but one day, they found her sharing her food rations with a wounded Thrain prisoner. She sat beside his cell, talking to him gently while he ate. "Why do you do this?" a Valkyrie guard asked. "He would have killed you on the battlefield." Heijin looked up. Her eyes were sad. "Yes, and I might have killed him. But the battle is over now. He is hungry. I have food. It is simple." "It is not simple," the guard insisted. "He is the enemy." "He was the enemy," Heijin corrected. "Now he is just a person who is hurt and scared and far from home, like we all are." The guard walked away, confused. How could she kill efficiently, but also show such kindness? How could both things exist in one person? Minho was another puzzle. He was the demolitions expert, the one who destroyed Thrain positions with calculated precision. He was good at making things explode, but after one mission, the Valkyrie soldiers found him sitting alone, crying quietly. They approached carefully. "Are you injured?" they asked. "No," Minho said, wiping his eyes. "But that building I destroyed today. It was beautiful. 300 years old. The architecture was amazing, and I had to blow it up because the enemy was using it. I hate destroying beautiful things. But you did it anyway," a soldier pointed out. "Yes," Minho agreed. "Because if I did not, more people would die. Sometimes we must destroy what we love to protect what we love more. This does not mean it does not hurt." The Valkyrie did not understand. They destroyed enemy positions without emotion. It was logical, necessary. The humans seemed to feel everything, but did what was necessary anyway. How did they carry such weight? The most confusing thing was how quickly humans bonded. Within days, they knew the names of every Valkyrie soldier. They asked about families, about homeworlds, about dreams and fears. They shared their own stories freely. They laughed together. They mourned losses together. One Velkari soldier named Kreth found himself telling Day One about his daughter, who was sick back home. Kreth had not meant to share this. The words just came out. Maybe because Day One listened like he truly cared. "How old is she?" Day One asked. 6 cycles, Kreth said. "The doctors say she will recover, but I worry. I have been gone for 2 years. She probably does not remember my face." Day One was quiet for a moment. Then he pulled out a small device and showed Kreth a picture. A tiny human child with a bright smile. "My daughter. Her name is Yuna. She is 4 years old. I miss her every day." "You have a child?" Kreth was shocked. "But you are a soldier. You fight." "Yes," Day One said. "I fight so she does not have to. I fight so she can grow up in a safer universe. This is why all soldiers fight, is it not? For those we love who cannot fight for themselves." Kreth felt something strange in his chest. Connection. Understanding. This human, this alien creature from a rumored world, understood him perfectly. They were the same. That evening, Commander Vector asked Day One the question that troubled him most. "Why do you help us?" Vector said. "Your species owes us nothing. We are strangers. You risk your lives for people you never met." "Why?" Day One stood at the observation window, looking at the scarred surface of Krath 7 below. "Because you asked," he said finally. "Because it is right. Because if we do not stand against cruelty when we can, what does that make us? My people have a saying. Evil wins. When good people do nothing, we choose to do something." "But what do you gain?" Vector pressed. "There must be a reason. Payment? Alliance? Resources? We gain the knowledge that we helped," Day One said. "We gain the satisfaction of doing what is right. Is this not enough? For my people? No," Vector admitted. "We help allies because of treaties. We fight for resources or territory. We act for logical reasons." 7. "And you are dying because of it," Day One said, not unkindly. "Commander, logic is important, but it is not everything. Sometimes, the right choice is not the logical choice. Sometimes we must act because our hearts demand it, even when our minds say it is foolish." Vector had no response to that. In the medical bay, something remarkable happened. Hana had established a field hospital that treated everyone equally. Velkari soldiers lay in beds next to Thrain prisoners. At first, they refused to look at each other. But pain is a universal language. So is healing. A young Thrain soldier, barely an adult, cried out in pain during treatment. Hana held his hand while she worked, speaking softly. "I know it hurts. I am sorry. It will be better soon. You are brave. Hold on." In the next bed, a Velkari soldier watched. He had lost friends to Thrain weapons. He should have hated this enemy soldier. But watching the young Thrain cry for his mother while Hana comforted him, the Velkari soldier saw only a scared child. Not so different from himself. Later, when Hana stepped away, the Velkari soldier spoke to the Thrain. The Thrain looked at him with suspicious eyes. "Why do you speak to me?" Because we are both patients now," the Velkari said. "The fighting is outside. In here, we are just people, trying to survive." It was a small moment. But it mattered. Jisoo made a discovery that changed everything. While reviewing communication logs, she found the original cause of the war. It had started over mining rights to an asteroid field. Both sides claimed ownership, but Jisoo traced the claims back and found the truth. The asteroid field had been abandoned by a third species centuries ago. Neither the Velkari nor the Thrain had any real legal claim. The whole war was based on a misunderstanding that neither side had bothered to investigate. She brought this information to both Day One and Commander Vector. 3 years of war, Vector said slowly, staring at the data. Thousands dead. All for nothing? Not for nothing, Jisoo said. For pride. For the unwillingness to back down. For the fear of appearing weak. These are the real reasons wars continue after they should stop. What do we do with this information? Vector asked. We share it, Day One said. With everyone. Both sides. Let them know the truth. Maybe it will not stop the war. Pride is a powerful force, but truth is more powerful. It plants seeds of doubt. And doubt can become questioning. And questioning can become peace. That night, around a small fire in an underground bunker, human and Valkyrie soldiers sat together. The humans had a tradition, they explained. After a battle, they shared stories, not of fighting, but of life, of home, of the things they missed. A human soldier named Borum talked about his grandmother's cooking, the way her kitchen always smelled of warm bread, how she would hum old songs while she worked. He had tears in his eyes as he spoke. The Valkyrie soldiers shared their own memories. Of family. Of peaceful days. Of things they hoped to return to. In that small circle of firelight, enemies became companions. Aliens became friends. And the walls between different species began to crumble. Just a little. Commander Vector watched from a distance. He was beginning to understand what humans were. They were not stronger, or smarter, or more advanced. They were something else entirely. They were hope, wearing armor. They were compassion, wielding weapons. They were the illogical choice that somehow made perfect sense, and the galaxy had no idea what was coming. News of the human victory spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. Every species heard the story differently. Some said humans were warriors who could not be defeated. Others said they were tricksters who used deception. A few said they were dangerous and should be avoided. The Galactic Council called an emergency session. They demanded to meet these humans who were supposed to be myths. They wanted proof of human capabilities before considering them for membership in the galactic community. In the Thrain collective capital, the military leaders were furious. Their pride was wounded. Their reputation was damaged. They could not accept defeat from an unknown species with only 3 ships. The supreme commander of the Thrain forces made a declaration that shocked even his own advisors. We will send the Warbringer fleet, he announced. 200 of our finest warships. We will crush these humans and show the galaxy that the Thrain collective is not to be mocked. Supreme Commander, an advisor said carefully. 200 ships seems excessive for 3 human vessels. Perhaps we should study them first. Understand their tactics. No. The Supreme Commander said coldly. We will overwhelm them with pure force. There will be no clever tactics to save them this time. Only fire and death. The Warbringer fleet was the pride of the Thrain military. Ships that had conquered dozens of worlds. Soldiers who had never known defeat. They traveled to Krath 7 with absolute confidence, expecting easy prey. When Commander Vector's sensors detected the incoming fleet, his heart sank. 200 ships. Against the humans' 12 vessels, and his own damaged fleet. It was impossible. We should evacuate, his second officer said. Get everyone off the moon before they arrive. But Day One's response surprised everyone. No evacuation. We stay and fight. You cannot be serious, Vector said. Even with your tactics, the numbers are too great. This is suicide. Day One smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who knew a secret. Commander, we never said space combat was our specialty. In space, we are adequate. But ground warfare? That is where humanity truly excels. We have been doing it for 10,000 years. Let them land. Let them come to us. This moon will become their grave. You want them to invade? Vector could not believe what he was hearing. Yes, Day One said simply. In space, they have the advantage. On the ground, we do. So we change the battlefield to favor our strengths. This is basic strategy. The Warbringer fleet arrived 3 days later. Their commander, a decorated Thrain warrior named Velkor, was amused when the humans sent a message inviting them to land ground forces. They think they can fight us on land? Velkor laughed. Very well, we will show them Thrain ground superiority. Prepare for full invasion. I want every soldier on that moon's surface. We will sweep them away like dust. The invasion began at dawn. Thrain dropships descended like rain, thousands of soldiers ready for glorious battle. They landed in organized formations. Expecting resistance, what they found was an empty battlefield. Then the moon itself turned against them. The humans had spent 3 days preparing. Every tunnel, every building, every piece of equipment had been turned into part of a massive trap. As the Thrain soldiers advanced, the ground beneath them exploded. Not massive blasts, but carefully calculated collapses that separated units, trapped groups, created chaos. Industrial machinery came to life, controlled remotely by Jisoo and her engineering teams. Massive diggers became obstacles. Chemical storage tanks released irritating gases that did not kill, but made soldiers unable to fight, coughing and blind. Water pipes burst, flooding low areas. Power lines were weaponized, creating electric barriers. But the real weapon was something the Thrain had never encountered: sustained human resistance. A human commander named Taejun led a group of 50 soldiers in a defense that should have been impossible. For 40 hours, without sleep, without rest, his unit held a critical position against waves of Thrain attackers. Every time the Thrain thought they had won, they found new traps, new tactics, new nightmares. Taejun was everywhere, coordinating defenses, encouraging his troops, personally manning weapons when needed. His soldiers followed him because he never asked them to do anything he would not do himself. When they were exhausted, he reminded them what they were fighting for. When they were afraid, he stood beside them and faced the fear together. The Thrain soldiers began to break psychologically. They were used to clean battles with clear victories. This was something else. This was warfare that ground them down, exhausted them, made them question everything. Then Day 1 began broadcasting casualty reports, not as celebration, as mourning. Every hour, across all frequencies, human voices read the names of Thrain soldiers who had died. They spoke with respect, with sadness. They shared what little they knew about each soldier. Velkran, age 23, from the northern continent. He had 2 brothers. They will never see him again. It was psychological warfare unlike anything the galaxy had known. The Thrain soldiers heard their friends being mourned by their enemies. They heard humans treating Thrain deaths as tragedies, not victories. It confused them. It made them uncomfortable. It made them think. In Hana's field hospital, something remarkable was happening. The facility now treated more Thrain wounded than Velkari. Every Thrain soldier who was captured and brought in received the same excellent care. Hana worked without stopping, treating everyone with the same compassion, regardless of which side they fought for. A Thrain soldier, his leg badly injured, asked her the question that troubled him. "Why do you save us?" "We came to kill you." Hana looked at him with tired eyes. She had not slept in 30 hours. "Because you are hurt. Because I am a doctor. Because your life has value. Even if you do not see it right now. Because maybe if I save you, you will go home and be a father or a brother or a friend to someone. Because every life I save is a victory against death. And I hate death more than I could ever hate you." The soldier started to cry. Hana held his hand until he fell asleep. Word spread among the Thrain forces. Soldiers who were captured reported gentle treatment, medical care, food, even respect. It contradicted everything they had been told about the enemy. Some refused to fight anymore. Others shared intelligence, hoping to end the battle sooner. Commander Velkor could not understand what was happening. His forces were superior in every way. They had better weapons, more soldiers, stronger ships. Yet they were losing. Not in combat, but in will. His soldiers no longer wanted to fight. Then Jisu's message broadcast across all channels, cutting through every communication system. It was the truth about the war's origins. The data was undeniable. The war had no real purpose. It never had. Soldiers on both sides heard it. Many stopped fighting. They stood in the battlefield, weapons lowered, staring at each other across the scarred ground. What were they doing? Why were they dying? A young Thrain soldier dropped his weapon and walked across no man's land, toward the human lines, hands raised, then another, then 10 more, then 100. They were not surrendering to be captured. They were surrendering because they were done fighting a pointless war. Commander Velkor ordered a retreat. Not because his forces were defeated militarily, but because they had lost something more important: the will to fight. The Warbringer fleet, the pride of the Thrain military, limped back into space carrying wounded bodies and broken pride. Day 1 stood on the surface of Krath 7, watching the enemy ships depart. Around him, human and Velkari soldiers cheered their victory. But Day 1 did not cheer. He looked sad. Hana approached him. "We won," she said quietly. "Did we?" Day 1 asked. "Look at the cost. The destroyed land. The dead on both sides. The trauma that will haunt survivors for years. This is victory? If so, I hate victory. But you did what was necessary," Hana said. "You saved lives. You stopped a slaughter." "I know," Day 1 said. "That does not mean I have to like it. That is what being human means, Hana. We do terrible things for good reasons, and we carry the weight of both the terrible and the good. We do not get to pretend the terrible part does not matter. Above them, the stars shone indifferent to mortal struggles, but across those stars, the galaxy was learning a new truth. Humans were not myths. They were real, and they were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The Galactic Council chamber was more crowded than it had been in 1,000 years. Representatives from every major species had come to witness the human hearing. Some came from curiosity, others from fear, a few from hope that they did not dare speak aloud. Captain Day 1 stood before them alone. He had refused an escort, walking to the center of the vast chamber with calm confidence. He wore his simple uniform, carried no weapons, showed no fear. Around him, hundreds of alien eyes watched, with emotions ranging from interest to hostility. The High Council speaker, a being of pure energy contained in a crystalline form, began the session. "We have reviewed reports of human activities on Krath 7. The accounts are difficult to believe. A species that was considered myth has appeared and changed the course of a war that has killed millions. We must determine what humanity represents. Are you warriors? Diplomats? Conquerors? What are you?" Day 1 considered the question. "We are all of those things, and none of them. We are complicated. We are contradictions. We are a species that has been killing each other since we learned to pick up rocks, but we are also a species that will risk everything to save a stranger. We are logical and insane. We are strong and fragile. We are exactly what the rumors said. We are human." "That explains nothing," another council member said sharply. "No," Day 1 agreed. "It does not. Because humanity cannot be easily explained. You want us to fit into categories you understand. We do not fit. We never will." Commander Vector stepped forward to testify. The council had not expected this. "I wish to speak," Vector said. "I fought beside humans. I watched them. I learned from them. And I can tell you what they are. They are dangerous." Murmurs spread through the chamber. Day 1 showed no reaction. "But not in the way you think," Vector continued. "They did not defeat the Thrain through superior weapons or greater numbers. They defeated them by making them question why they fought. That is a power more dangerous than any weapon. They saved my forces, not because of treaties or payment, but because they believed it was right. That is a motivation we do not understand. That is what makes them dangerous. They will help their enemies. They will cry for the defeated. They will fight for people they have never met. How do you predict that? How do you control that? Envoy Lethes, who now represented the Thrain Collective, spoke next. Her voice was soft, but clear. They defeated us, not by killing us, but by making us see ourselves. They mourned our dead with respect. They treated our wounded with compassion. They showed us the truth we had been hiding from. I do not know if the galaxy is ready for humanity. I am not sure I am ready for humanity. But they are here now, and we must decide what that means. The debate went on for hours. Some species argued that humans should be restricted, their influence contained. They were too unpredictable, too emotional, too willing to act on principle rather than logic. Others said humans should be studied, their tactics learned, their technology acquired. A few, very few, suggested that humans might be exactly what the galaxy needed. Finally, the High Council speaker offered humanity membership in the Galactic Council. But, with conditions. Restrictions on military operations. Limits on contact with certain species. Requirements to follow Council decisions. Essentially, they wanted to control humanity while using human capabilities. Day One listened to all the conditions. Then he did something no one expected. He smiled and shook his head. No, he said simply. The chamber erupted in shocked voices. No species had ever rejected council membership. It was the highest honor, the greatest opportunity. To reject it was unthinkable. Explain yourself, the High Council speaker demanded. We did not come here for membership or recognition. Day One said. His voice was calm, but it carried through the entire chamber. We came because someone sent a distress signal. Someone needed help. That is all we needed to know. We helped. We fought. We won. And now you offer us membership. But only if we agree to be controlled. Only if we promise to do what you say, when you say it, how you say it. That is not membership. That is a leash. You are being offered a place among civilized species, a council member said angrily. Are you civilized? Day One asked. You let a war continue for 3 years because it was not convenient to intervene. You debate endlessly while people die. You create rules that benefit the powerful and ignore the weak. If that is civilization, perhaps we do not want it. Then what do you want? The High Council speaker asked. We want to help who needs helping, Day One said. We want to stand against who needs standing against. We want to do what is right, even when it is not profitable or logical or convenient. If your council only acts when it benefits you, then we will work outside it. We will be the ones who answer distress calls when you are too busy debating. We will be the ones who stand up to bullies when you are too afraid to offend them. We will be what the galaxy needs, not what you want us to be. You would defy the council? Someone asked, shocked. We would ignore the council, Day One corrected. There is a difference. We do not seek to harm you or oppose you. We simply will not let your politics stop us from doing what we believe is right. Do what you will with that information. He turned to leave. Then he stopped and looked back. You asked what humans are. I will tell you. We are the species that cares when we should not. We are the species that fights when we cannot win. We are the species that hopes when there is no reason to. We are stubborn and foolish and emotional and brave and stupid and wise all at once. We are human. For better or worse, we are here now. And the galaxy will never be the same. Day One walked out of the council chamber. Behind him, hundreds of species sat in stunned silence. Later, on the human flagship preparing to depart, Day One stood with his crew. Hana had chosen to stay behind on Krath 7. She was establishing a medical school to teach her techniques to other species. She had students from 6 different worlds already. "You could have come home," Day One said to her. Hana smiled. "This is more important. These people need what I can teach, and I need to know that what we started here will continue. Go. Answer the next call. I will be here, building something that lasts." Jisoo was sharing human engineering principles freely with anyone who wanted to learn. She had been offered positions with a dozen different species. She accepted all of them as consultants, refusing payment. "Knowledge should be free," she said. "Everyone should have a chance to build better things." The human ships began their departure sequence. Around Krath 7, something remarkable was happening. Velkari and Thrain representatives were meeting for peace negotiations. Human mediators, led by officers who had fought in the war, helped guide the discussions. It was slow work. Trust does not rebuild quickly. But it was happening. Across the galaxy, something changed. Species in conflict began sending messages toward human space. Not official requests, through the Council. Personal pleas. "We have heard stories. We need help. Will you come?" And humans answered. Sometimes with ships, sometimes with doctors, sometimes with engineers, or teachers, or diplomats. They did not come to conquer. They came to help. They asked nothing in return except that those they helped do better, be better. A new phrase entered galactic languages, spoken with equal parts respect and fear. The humans are coming. For some, it was a warning. For others, a promise. For those who were suffering, it was hope. Day One recorded a message to Earth as his ship traveled through the dark between stars. "We were a rumor, then a mystery, now a question the galaxy cannot ignore. They asked what humanity is. I think we showed them. We are the species that cares when we should not, fights when we cannot win, and hopes when there is no reason to. We are stubborn enough to believe we can make things better, even when all evidence says otherwise. We are foolish enough to try anyway. For better or worse, we are here now, and the galaxy will never be the same." He paused, thinking of his daughter back on Earth. Thinking of all the human children growing up among the stars. "I do not know what comes next. I do not know if the galaxy will accept us or fight us. I do not know if we can really make things better. But I know we will try. Because that is what humans do. We try. We hope. We care. Even when it hurts. Especially when it hurts." The message ended. The ship continued its journey through the infinite dark. Behind them, Krath 7 healed slowly. Before them, the galaxy waited, full of conflicts and suffering, and species who needed help but did not know how to ask for it. And somewhere out there, another distress signal would be sent. Another call for help from people who had heard the stories. People who whispered in the dark about a species that should not exist, but did. People who dared to hope. And when that signal came, humanity would answer. Not because it was profitable, not because of treaties or politics, but because someone needed help. Because it was right. That was enough. That had always been enough. That would always be enough. The rumor had become legend. The legend had become truth. And the truth was simple. Humanity had arrived. And nothing would ever be the same again.